See, now, the thing that most people don't understand is that Christianity was birthed in an environment of oppression. When Jesus lived, the Roman Empire was oppressing the Jewish civilization. And that is the culture or the background of how Christianity was created. Now, early Christians, they were persecuted by the religious Jews. They were killed by the religious Jews. They were ostracized. They were abandoned by their families, that sort of thing. Then the non-religious or the pagan Romans did the same exact thing. They tarred Christians and set them on fire. They fed Christians to lions because they wouldn't bow down to Caesar, that sort of thing. So you have persecution can come from anyone, not just religious people. And then even today, even looking through history and even today, Christians had to face persecution by the Catholics who should have been considered their brothers. They were, people with the same belief were persecuting them, or supposed to have the same belief. And even today, communist countries today, not atheistic communistic countries today, kill Christians. So it's not just a religion thing. That's more of a power thing or a control thing. The other thing about religion is every civilization, every ancient civilization on this planet had a religion, especially the one that black people rep the most, which was Kemet. They had a religion. They had more gods than probably anyone. I think it's kind of to diss religion or to say that religion is the cause of all those things and rep a society or culture that not only had religion, but also had slaves. And they did have slaves. I don't understand it. Like, to me, that doesn't make any sense. It kind of defeats the argument. And just thinking about slavery, every civilization had slaves. Everyone. Varying degrees of slavery, and not necessarily the type of slavery that happened to us in this country. No, it was considerably different, but everyone had slaves. So, I mean, I don't see anyone rejecting any African country because they had slaves. They enslaved their own scriptures, their own writings talk about them fighting against their fellow black brothers and celebrating the victories. And also their own writings talk about them having slaves and giving slaves. So it's like, I understand where you're coming from with that, but at the same time, I don't see a consistency among people who use that kind of logic. So I don't buy it. I don't buy it. The government was used against us. Do people say the idea of government is bad because the government was used against us? Guns were used against us. Fire hoses was used against us. And I'm not saying that to patronize or to be insulting or anything. I'm just applying that same logic to other things. If these things are automatically bad because they were misused, then why not fight against all of those things? There should be no guns. There should be they use science against us. They use medicine against us. So is science the problem? Is medicine a problem? Or is it the minds and the hearts of the people who misuse those things that are the problem? And I would say it's the people. It's not the concepts. It's not the structures. It's the people who run it. Those things are the problem. There are people that use religion to beat people over the head and manipulate them and all of that. There are people like myself that treat women better because of religion. That I don't sleep around anymore because of what Jesus taught and what the Bible teaches. And Christianity teaches me that I'm supposed to love my fellow brother. I'm supposed to laugh when you laugh, cry when you cry. So it's like religion is not automatically bad. It is the distortion of it or the misuse of it or whatever. And I just want to say that I just don't buy those arguments. They're not consistent arguments. The day I see someone apply those consistently, then I'll buy those arguments. And then just going back to Egypt. Egypt had religion. Like, they had religion. They weren't just spiritual. They had religion. They had gods. And did that make them violent? Would you say that made them violent? And it's like, it's disrespectful to our ancestors to dismiss their religion. I really do think so. And I'm speaking generally here. That is very disrespectful. To take bits and pieces of their religion, promote it, and then dismiss the rest of it and say, oh, they weren't religious, they're spiritual. That's disrespectful to them. That's misrepresenting them. And then the whole idea of this kumbaya, united black people front of Africa or the world or whatever, there is no time in history where civilization, mankind or whatever, lived peacefully side by side without violence and disputes. When I growing up, we fought. I lived on 35th Street. We didn't get along with the people from 33rd Street, same neighborhood, because they were from 33rd Street. There were people that chose to use that as a reason to make a distinction between us and to start issues. And we had issues. When I was in middle school, there were people that they were in the same school, but a different section of the school. I was in A house, they were in B house. And they would fight each other just because they were from different parts of the school. And there's going to be people that say that's because of what happened to us and slavery and what happened to us, blah, blah. No, it's because man is wicked. And anything that can cause a distinction between us will be used as a means to justify violence or hatred. You know, you have, I'm trying to think of something else from my personal experience. I remember I went to Dobbins and you had Dobbins Randolph. When they would show up, the people from Randolph would show up at the functions at Dobbins for the dances and stuff, and they would fight. You would hear chants, Dobbins, and you would hear the Randolph people, Randolph, and they would like kind of have this issue with each other just because they're from different buildings, but it's the same school. Same basketball team, same everything. It's the same school. So it's not just religion. It's not a religion thing. It's a sin thing. That's just something that man does. And I'm not saying that to discredit any of the evils that have been done in the name of Christianity or any other religion, because they exist. And here's my thing. Just like it is inappropriate for people to believe that or to promote the idea that African history started at slavery or at oppression or whatever, it's equally unfair to say that Christianity or religion started at those points. I mean, it's just, you got to be consistent. It's the same thing. Like, Christianity didn't start at slavery, and slavery actually goes against Christianity. But the purpose of this video isn't to try to argue and try to convince you to be a Christian. No, I just want to point out why I don't buy those arguments. Now, I understand that I'm not oblivious, and no black Christian I know is oblivious to oppression and those sort of things. We see it ourselves, we feel it ourselves, we see the same news that you do, we walk the same streets as y'all do. The same thing happens to us. And those things that happen in this country now, that has nothing to do with religion at all. So that's why I'm like, when it comes to those things, I can bang with you. Like, we can work on changing things, whether it's educating each other, whether it's trying to change some kind of structure or whatever it is. We can agree on those things. Differences of religion or views of God or whatever, that is totally irrelevant unless someone brings it up. If someone makes that a point of contention, then it is that person that's creating the division, not religion. It's the person who brings it up. So, just in summary, Christians have suffered the same persecution, not only just because we live in the same environment, but also throughout history. Not only, Hitler, look at Hitler, look at, like I said, communist China, look at communist Russia. They tortured and killed Christians. So it's like, it's not just religion, it's atheistic things too. It's just a simple matter of man not respecting his fellow man as being made in the image of God or just being not respecting that his fellow man is having the same worth as him. That's not necessarily a religious thing. That's a man thing. That's a problem within man himself. So, that's all I got to say.